Welcome to my channel. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. And in this video, we will be going over the energy and the chart for the new moon that we are having January 18th in Capricorn at 28 degrees. So for the first portion of this video, we will go over the chart for the new moon. And then for the second portion of the video, I will get into all 12 rising signs where we go through each individual chart, giving you more of a personal overlook of this energy and how this can be showing up in your personal world. So if you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get right into it. So this is the chart for the new moon in Capricorn that we are having January 18th, 2026. And this new moon is at 28 degrees, 43 minutes. So you always want to check your personal birth chart to see if you have any personal planets or points around any of the significant degree points we can be discussing in any of the forecasts. But you want to check to see if you have any personal planets or points around this 28 degrees or, any of the points we really discuss in this chart, because there's quite a lot going on that will really indicate that there can be some major changes, activations taking place within your birth chart. So this new moon is at 28 degrees, forming a trine to Uranus. Now, the interesting thing is that this is going to be the last new moon in Capricorn connecting to Uranus and Taurus, because in a couple of months we have Uranus finally shifting into Gemini, making that final shift, and the whole Uranus and Taurus saga will be over. I will be creating a separate video going deep into the Uranus and Taurus journey and then how Uranus and Gemini is going to be changing our world over the next 8 years. So make sure you watch for that. Um, but this new moons, how I work with the lunations is the new moons are always a great time to seed intentions that can flourish over the next 6 months. Usually, what I find is by the time we have the full moon in Capricorn, whatever intentions you have set kind of come to fruition. You always want to look at the other planets that are involved because that can really give you a holistic kind of story on how those intentions are going to come to fruition because we have such a prominent Uranus energy. There's definitely going to be some twists and turns and manifestations kind of coming out of nowhere that can be extremely unexpected. With trines, it's a very easy flowing energy. As you can see, we have a couple sextiles here, which are um, where we have to with sextiles, it usually brings up some type of opportunity or but you have to kind of put in the work. You usually have to take some type of action to get things moving. With trines, this is just a very easy flowing energy where something can just be showing up or coming in, and it's a more positive alignment. Now, with Uranus retrograde planets are become more internalized. So, with the Uranus retrograde energy in Taurus, you may have found that over the last couple of years, especially with Uranus at these end degrees of Taurus, regardless of which house you have Taurus in, Taurus rules our values. What makes us feel safe and secure? There could be a lot around those themes and topics that have been changing over the last few years. So there can definitely be some type of internal breakthroughs going on around the time of this new moon, really changing your trajectory and path moving forward, almost moving in a moving down. Sorry, I'm trying to like put into words what I'm feeling intuitively, moving down the path that is more in alignment with uh this higher kind of timeline that you're on now, if that makes sense. There's something, I mean, we've all been going through this difficult energy. For 2025 was kind of challenging for a lot of people, and that was really kind of tearing down structures in our world and so that we can rebuild on more of a foundation that's more in alignment. And that can be with relationships, career, family. maybe if you have your own business, whatever the case is, whatever was kind of taken away, it's so that it's to put us on a new path that's more in alignment with kind of the direction we are going in now. That also ties into a lot of this South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces energy. I actually posted a video on my old YouTube channel, which I have over 300 videos on there. And if you want to know what happened, check out the video I just posted on this channel. I'm back. What happened to all my content? I'll explain kind of what happened in that video, or I explain what happened in that video, but I'm kind of starting fresh. But if you want, check out my old YouTube channel at it's a Dina Sterling Intuitive Astrologer. I have over 300 videos. The video that I posted around this time last year, I really get into the nodes being in Virgo and Pisces, what that means. And like, I couldn't have been more accurate because literally everything I said in that video happened to myself. And so I know we're all going through it. And part of that energy is the South Node in Virgo and having to learn to let go. So whatever part of our life we're kind of holding on to too tightly, the universe is going to shake us, and we have no choice but to let go and surrender and learn to trust the universe and just learn to trust. And that's that North Node Pisces, learning to kind of trust that everything's going to be okay, trust the universe. Sometimes you don't need to control the outcome, you know, things like that. And that's a lot of that energy having that North Node in Pisces. This year we have the nodes changing come July. So I'll be posting a video about that as well. I really work with the nodes just because my own personal experience, I find that where the nodes are transiting in your birth chart, you are going to go through some massive changes in those areas of life. Every time there is an eclipse, there is going to be something else coming in or happening in your life that's changing that story for you to get you on the path that's more in alignment. So we'll talk more about that kind of karmic energy in that video. I'll be posting that soon. We kind of got off topic of the new moon, but I just wanted to mention that. Now, this new moon's also forming a sextile to Saturn and to Neptune, which is, this ongoing conversation that Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune have been having. And as we move through 2026, we have an ongoing conversation with Pluto in the mix. So there is like a lot of changes taking place this year. With Pluto in Aquarius, all of the outer planets shifting signs, like our world is going to look completely different, you know, leaving 2026 than it is look coming into 2026. Now, on a more personal level, of course, you'll get a better understanding once we get into all 12 rising signs. But Capricorn rules governments, systems. So, this new moon that's taking place in Capricorn can really indicate that there is definitely some changes coming in, no matter what country you live in, no matter where in the world you are, there is changes that will be taking place. Um, and I'm even feeling to like on a I mean, these changes that are taking place are on a spiritual level. They are um like I'm feeling like earthquakes, but it's earth shattering is kind of like what I'm feeling. There's like earth shattering things that are taking place where like it's going to look a lot different. The systems that we are used to are breaking down. And so the government is going to be changing. What we know to be government and corporations, like what we know those things to be in the world, are crumbling and are going to look very different. And I feel like this new moon is going to really start the changes. And I mean, even if we look in the world right now, we can see some things that are starting. I don't like to get too political. Well, actually, I can't say that because on my old channel I did post. Actually, I live in Canada and I used to post a lot of Canadian content where I would go over the chart for Canada. So I will probably end up getting back into that as well. But so this new moon forming a sextile to Neptune. Neptune is at the final degrees of Pisces. This Neptune and Pisces story is going to be over really a week after this new moon on January 26th, Neptune makes its final ingress into Aries. So the energy of Neptune and Pisces is really coming to a finalization, an end. This new moon will be the last new moon to utilize this Neptune and Pisces energy, which Neptune and Pisces is great for creative work, spirituality, intuition. Um, so we really want to be utilizing, January is a really good year. Sorry, January is a really good month to start to get things off, not necessarily get things off the ground, but to start building, start to get things in motion, because there is some crazier energy as we get into 2026. The energy is going to shift, and we want to make sure that we are building our foundations now that can that we can kind of ride through the year. We want to build that kind of basis right now that's going to get us through the year, because it may be a lot harder to kind of create and build those foundations 6 months from now with all the crazy energy. So, this is great energy for setting intentions to create something solid, something long lasting, especially with that connection to Saturn, Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn. So, Saturn is a really strong energy with this new moon, because Saturn rules Capricorn, and also Saturn's going to be entering Aries a month from now. Saturn enters Aries, not even a month from now, February 13th. So a few weeks from now, Saturn's going to be entering Aries. So this is kind of the last of the Capricorn lunations that we get with Saturn and Pisces. Now, Saturn and Pisces, where Saturn is all about, solid foundations and structures and what is real, and Pisces is very much about illusion, deception, spirituality, and those unseen realms. So it is kind of a contradictory energy. However, if you know how to utilize it, it's great for meshing that together. And so being able to set new intentions and create on I even just got like groundbreaking in a groundbreaking way where, I mean, this is also to energy where there can be manifestations that we may have thought were completely out of reach coming in. And that is a part of the Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus influence in this new moon. Now, we also have the Mars Mercury conjunction at 26 degrees of Capricorn. Like, there's quite a lot of energy here in Capricorn, which means that this new moon is working with multiple areas of our lives. So, Mars rules Aries, which is right here. So you want to also check which house you have Aries, which house you have Gemini and Virgo, because that's ruled by Mercury. And then check where you have Cancer, because it's ruled by the moon, and then Leo, because it's ruled by the sun. All of those other areas of your chart can also go through some type of activation or changes. Now, with this Mercury Mars conjunction, Mercury rules our mind, communication, our way of thinking. It can rule forms of communication, so like texting and emailing, um, ideas. Like Mercury in Capricorn is actually really great for um pen to paper, like having ideas and being able to deliver on that. The Mars energy really gives us that kind of ambition and motivation and drive to move forward with something. Mars in Capricorn can also be very great for like Mars ruling our drive and energy and ambition. And it's really good for actually getting those goals in motion. Like this energy really does support kind of getting those goals moving, whatever goals you have set for January, starting to get those kind of in motion and going. There's a lot of supportive energy for that. So you don't want to let this energy kind of slide. Like we have quite a lot of interesting energy this year that may not be the easiest to work with, even though there's always ways around it and ways to mitigate it. But you definitely want to be utilizing this new moon in Capricorn to set intentions and really get things off the ground. We also don't want to forget about the opposition to Jupiter. Last week, we had a lot of, well, all of the personal planets forming an opposition to Jupiter here in Cancer, which can create a bit of tension when it has to do with our emotional world and our physical world, like how we are feeling internally and what we are having to deliver in the outside world. There may have been balance required there. And so now that those planets have kind of moved on, and we don't have that opposition, it should be a lot easier to get those things in motion. Okay, so now let's get into all 12 rising signs. So, Aries, you have this new moon in Capricorn in your 10th house of career and public reputation, your public image, what you are known for out in the world. Um, this is a great time to set intentions for anything that really has to do with those themes and topics. Now, because you have the sextile to Saturn, Neptune in your 12th house, and the trine to Uranus retrograde in your second house of money, finances, and material possessions, there could be some type of really amazing opportunity coming in around your business or around your career that can be very lucrative with that kind of Uranus and Taurus in the second house. However, the sextile to the 12th house is making me feel like there can be something going on behind the scenes or some type of opportunity behind the scenes or something you've been thinking about doing behind the scenes that is there's that you're finally going to be able to move forward with or put in motion. So definitely kind of watch for that. If there's any type of opportunities or anything that you're kind of hearing of, you definitely have the supportive energy to move forward with that. And as far as like money ventures and money opportunities at work and career, there could definitely be something coming in that's quite unexpected. Taurus, you have this new moon in Capricorn happening in your ninth house of higher education, higher knowledge, long distance travel, philosophy, astrology is in the ninth house. So this is a great time to set intentions around anything, that has to do with those themes and topics. If you're wanting to travel, if you're wanting to go back to school, this would be a great time to set those intentions to travel. If your goal is to travel this year, take a trip, you have a trine to Uranus in your first house. So you've been dealing with that Uranus in your first house for 8 years now. So whatever has been kind of going on the last couple of years with this Uranus energy, there's something that could be coming to a completion with that, with Uranus reaching those end degrees, as well as the Uranus retrograde. There could be some type of internal breakthrough, even around your beliefs. If you've been struggling with something around your beliefs the last few years, with this trine, maybe something around your beliefs or religion or spirituality that's been preventing you from moving forward, or something you've been wanting to take off and kind of a new direction go towards that has to do with that. There could be some type of internal breakthrough with that. And with the sextile, the Saturn and Neptune, your friends or groups and associations that you're connected to may have something to do with this new journey that you're moving towards when it does have to do with this new venture around spirituality, religion, and or travel. Gemini, you have this new moon in Capricorn happening in your eighth house of other people's resources, your partner's finances, taxes, inheritance. The eighth house also rules like death and rebirth. It's a very psychological transformational energy. Like the eighth house rules psychology, like that's where your kind of psyche is in the eighth and the 12th. So there could be something very psychological coming up for you, like a new beginning, something that really amazing breakthroughs, especially with that Uranus energy to Taurus in your 12th house. If you've been working through something kind of behind the scenes, that's very psychological. There could be a lot of internal breakthroughs around that now you're able to kind of move forward with the sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your 10th, which rules your career and your public reputation. There could be some type of opportunity coming up that could even benefit you financially because of that connection to the eighth house. Changes have that has taken place in and around your career because the North Node's been in your 10th house of career and your public reputation. If there is anything you've been navigating around your career or your business, there can definitely be something. There can be either some type of like really great breakthrough that you did not foresee that's really unexpected coming in, or an amazing opportunity that maybe you've been sitting on or you've been waiting for. This could also be something you've been trying to get for a couple of months now, or even working through the last couple of years because of those end degrees with Uranus and Taurus at that 27th degree. So you could definitely have some amazing breakthroughs around your career. Um, and energy that you've been moving through around that. And then with the new moon being in the eighth house, this is also a really great time for you to set intentions, whether it has to do with your partner's finances or something that you're wanting to do, even making money with client work or like anything around that, a loan, getting rid of debt. That is all in that eighth house. Cancer, you have this new moon in Capricorn in your seventh house of relationships and one on one connections, business partnerships, and all of those close personal connections are represented in the seventh house. So, this is a great time for you to set intentions around all of your really close one on one relationships. Now we have this amazing trine to Uranus, which could bring in somebody unexpected that is a friend or that knows one of your friends. That's just something that even came to me intuitively. So definitely watch for that. Also, too, there could be some type of opportunity showing up around going back to school or travel with that sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your ninth house. There could be an opportunity showing up around a religious venture or traveling, maybe traveling with a friend, maybe even traveling and finding somebody while you're traveling. Like that could even be a thing with this energy if you are wanting to travel or taking a trip around this time. But this is really where there could be some type of new relationship showing up for you or something new beginning it's going to be a 6 month story here, with this energy around relationships and one on one connections. Leo, you have this new moon in Capricorn in your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine. And so pets are in the sixth house, your nutrition habits are in the sixth house. All of like your daily routines, whether it's your routine that you do at home or at work, that is all in the sixth house. So during this time period, you may really feel a pull to start some new routines at home or at work. Um, or even some new energy around getting a pet or something new happening with one of your pets. Either way, this is a great time to set intentions around those sixth house themes. And because of this energy, there really is a lot of supportive energy to not only put it in motion, but to follow through. Because we have that Mars in Capricorn and we have that sextile to Saturn, which Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. That is in your eighth house of your partner's finances. And so if you've been working towards, even if you've been working towards, because the eighth house is your partner's finances, but it also means other like resources coming in from other avenues, other people's money. If you're wanting a loan or even client work, sometimes can show up in that eighth house. So if you've been doing something kind of working towards something along those lines, there could be some unexpected um, breakthroughs, really, especially with that Uranus energy in the 10th house of career. There can definitely be a lot of changes here around your work, around your business, around your career, and some really amazing opportunities coming in. And if you have any goals that you've wanted to set for yourself around business and career, I would really say to do that with this energy, just because there's so much here that is supporting you in moving forward with something around your business or career and getting things in motion. Virgo, you have this new moon in Capricorn in your fifth house of children, creativity, your hobbies, your interests, what you are passionate about. So, this is a great time for you to set intentions around any creative pursuits or anything you're wanting to start with your children. You have this really supportive trine to Uranus up here in your ninth house. Because Uranus is retrograde, this could be some internal breakthrough around some creative project or something that you're moving through with your children. There is also this sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your seventh house of relationships. So there's definitely something here that you are moving through around relationships, possibly belief systems, your beliefs, your values, something that's been shaking up over the last few years around that. There's a lot of really supportive energy here to get any type of creative pursuit off the ground, get back into what you love, what you are passionate about, and even anything that really has to do with your children. I mean, your chart ruler Mercury is also connected to this new moon in Capricorn. So there's been a lot of energy in that area of your chart. The beginning of this year. So if you have been thinking about starting any new creative pursuits or ventures, you want to get that moving now while we have that supportive energy from Mars, from Mercury. That way, later on down the road, when the energy is not necessarily as supportive, we've already kind of built those foundations to keep going. Libra, you have this new moon in Capricorn in your fourth house of home, family, property, real estate. Also, the fourth house is kind of your private life, what you do behind the scenes. The 10th house represents what we do out in the world and how we are known and our public image. And the fourth house is completely opposite that. It's what we do when we go home after work, what we do behind the scenes, what we do that nobody knows. And so this new moon is happening in that fourth house. This is a great time for you to set intentions if you want a new home or you're wanting to do anything around your home, if there's anything going on around your family that you're really wanting to follow through or pursue, if anything too, if you're wanting to set intentions on anything personal that's going on behind the scenes that you've wanted to shift. There could be some really amazing breakthroughs with that, with the trine to Uranus. That can even be quite psychological because the eighth house is a very psychological energy. So having Uranus retrograde in the eighth house connecting to this new moon could really bring up some amazing psychological breakthroughs, especially when it has to do with maybe even healing from family matters or early childhood trauma. That can even actually be a thing too. So you may find that you have some really amazing breakthroughs around that that really changes the direction that your journey is going in 2026. Scorpio, you have this new moon in Capricorn happening in your third house of your local community. The third house rules quite a lot. The third house rules your local environment. So your day-to-day travel, your neighbors, your local community, vehicles, cars, communication, reading, writing, speaking. The third house represents the store that you travel to every day and your neighbor that you talk to. So the third house rules quite a lot. And this new moon is really a great time for you to set intentions around those themes and topics, anything around vehicles, anything around communication. If you're wanting to, start some type of communication or writing venture, this is a great time to really start pursuing that and getting that emotion because of all that supportive energy, especially with Saturn in your fifth house. If you're wanting to do anything around creative pursuits or ventures, you have a lot of really supportive energy to start moving forward with that and getting that in motion. With the trine to Uranus, there could be some type of internal breakthrough around your one-on-one connections and relationships that could possibly be helping through something or being there could be some type of breakthrough or influence too that's even changing your mindset around something I'm feeling as well. And I'm sure that's not going to be for all of you, but for some of you, there could be a lot of breakthroughs around this time that's shifting your mindset, um, and almost putting you in more of a passionate mindset. Um, it could, this could be difficult to understand, but I hope you do because I have to say it because it's just coming to me intuitively. And again, it won't be for all of you, but for some of you, there could be some type of breakthrough around relationships and one-on-one connections that's completely changing your mindset and putting you back on a path of what makes you truly happy and what you are passionate about. And that is with this fifth house energy connection too, with Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn in your fifth house. They're definitely working together. This can also have to do with children. There could be something around children that there's something changing that is putting something around children in a more positive light. So I hope that makes sense. Sagittarius, you have this new moon in Capricorn taking place in your second house of money, finances, and material possessions. And so this is a great time for you to set intentions around money, finances, your values, what you truly need that makes you feel safe, secure. There can definitely be a lot of breakthroughs around that. You could be changing your daily routine to, um, in order to almost put you on more of a solid path where you feel more secure moving forward financially, if that makes sense. And that is because of this trine to Uranus here in your sixth house. You could be shifting something up around your daily routine, or something could be changing around work that is being more financially lucrative. You also have the sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your fourth house of home, family, property, and real estate. So there could be something around family that is showing up that could be of some positive guidance or help at this time. Saturn is also the ruler of Capricorn and is in your fourth house of home and family. So there could be a lot of changes or a lot of breakthroughs around finances, home and family, and your daily routine that you're kind of meshing together or working with. And this is a great time to set intentions for, kind of any of those themes and topics because we have so much supportive energy to not only have those intentions, but really get them into motion. Capricorn, this is your new moon at 28 degrees in your first house. And the first house rules you, your body, your personality, your appearance, how you view the world, your perception of the world, how others perceive you. You have Mars in your first house right now, so you may have a lot of motivation or depending on your relationship to Mars, Mars can be a mixed bag depending on your own personal birth chart. But having Mars and Mercury all in your first house, this could really be a time where you are feeling that ambitious energy and wanting to get your goals in motion come 2026. Like you're really wanting to get that forward. And I say yes. We have so much supportive energy to do so. So don't let this energy pass you by. With the trine to Uranus in your fifth house, you can really be getting a lot of your creative pursuits and ventures going. Any ideas that you've had for 2026 around creative work or your children, there could be a lot of breakthroughs around that. You're finally able to move forward. There's finally a clear path ahead. We also have the sextile to Saturn in Pisces in your third house. Saturn is your chart ruler and the ruler of Capricorn. So your third house is also being lit up with this new moon energy and influenced. We've had the North Node in your third house, so there's probably been a lot of changes with those three themes, with those third house themes and topics, which your third house rules your local environment, your community, your neighbors, what you do on a day-to-day basis, vehicles, cars, your mindset, communication. There's quite a lot packed in that third house. So there could be a lot changing around your mindset. There could be a lot changing around vehicles or how you are communicating, reading, writing, speaking. Maybe you wanting to move in a direction where you are doing that more as a career for work. Maybe there's something you're passionate around that. And you can have some really supportive energy actually and breakthroughs that if that is something that is aligned with you and you've been wanting to do something around podcasting or writing, you can really get that into motion at this time with the sextile to Uranus. Aquarius, you have this new moon in Capricorn happening in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is the hidden house. The 12th house is what is unseen. It rules our subconscious things, people, places that are hidden. Everything goes to the 12th house to hide. The 12th house rules things like asylums and hospitals, retreat centers. Our subconscious is a very karmic energy. It can rule addictions, it can rule escapism at times. And so this is a good time to set intentions around 12th house themes and topics. This is more of a spiritual energy for you. This is also more of an internal energy. So the intentions that you want to set may not necessarily be something external, but what you're wanting to change internally, how you're feeling, how you approach the world, your view on spirituality, your view on your spiritual influence in the world. Now, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and Saturn is in your second house of money and finances. There's been a lot of changes with you around money and finances because we've had that North Node there. Because of all of the planets at those end degrees, there can be something completing for you around money, finances, and um, upheavals around whatever new direction that you've been on over the past year. There could be some type of unexpected breakthrough or opportunity. And also, Uranus being in your fourth house of home and family and what is going on behind the scenes. This is a lot of kind of private energy. This is affecting your kind of lower half of the chart. This is kind of the lower half. So when you look at your birth chart, the lower half of the first six houses is kind of your personal world. And then the 7th to 12th house is more of your outer world experience and other people in your life and what's going on, outwardly. And the first six houses is more like kind of inwardly. So there's this, and I'm only saying that for one because it came to me intuitively. So that just tells me some of you need to hear that, but also two, because there's a lot of breakthroughs around that. That fourth house is really what goes on in private behind the scenes. And it also rules your home and family. So there could be a lot of really amazing breakthroughs. And this could be an internal thing, not necessarily an external thing, because Uranus is retrograde. So definitely watch for that. This is a lot of really great supportive energy to not only just set the intentions, but really follow through and get things in motion. Pisces, you have this new moon in Capricorn in your 11th house of friendships, your goals, also groups and associations that you are connected to. I also kind of put social media in the 11th house as well. So this is a great time to set intentions around friendships or any groups that you are connected to or wanting to start. There's there is a trine to Uranus in your third house, which your third house can rule like communication, podcasting, reading, writing. So there could be some type of breakthrough around your connections or groups and associations and your contributions around like communication and podcasting, or even if you wanted to create a podcast and getting that out to the world, finally putting that online. And or if you have to, I'm even visually seeing like Patreon is kind of coming to the forefront. If that is something that aligns with you, this would be like a really great energy to get something like that moving or something around that kind of coming to fruition or setting the intentions. There could be some breakthroughs around that. And I'm saying that just because like the 11th house literally rules like the communities that we are connected to or are growing. And then the third house is also kind of that community energy, but it rules communication, speaking, reading, writing, and anything that you kind of do along those lines. Now, with the sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your first house, and also Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn, um, there's definitely something around responsibility, accountability, and whatever you've been moving through, I would say around the last few months when it has to do with your view on kind of whatever it is that you're trying to start around friendships and groups, associations, even your mindset. Like I'm even feeling like your mindset, there could be some really amazing breakthroughs with that. And finally kind of ready to get things in motion, to even if you've been thinking about starting a podcast or a blog or a Patreon page, there could be, and I'm just using Patreon as an example. It could be any one of those platforms, but there's definitely a lot of supportive energy for that.